Hello. So we can perhaps slowly start. Thank you very much for coming. Welcome everybody to Bilbao, to Azkuna, Centroa. Okay, so here we are. There's a mixture between local professionals, members of Acute Project, and also members of ETC, European Theatre Convention. So welcome everybody. We are just at the point to start. And it's a pleasure for us to start with this activity, this workshop managed by Saxion University. So thank you very much, Hester and Herman. They are also coming with these magnificent 4 students. And Trim, Delano, Joanna, and Diana. Thank you very much for coming. Hester van der Hent and Herman Passen, they are professor and researcher and teacher at Saxion University, and they have prepared a specific toolkit at this European project. They are going to explain us a bit more. And please, if you could have are you all registered? You have your accreditation? Great. So it will be easier for all of us to know better each other. And it's now your turn. Thank you very much. And let's start.
Thank you, Barbara. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's get started. Can we get the... switch on? Awesome. Yeah. Hello? Awesome. So thank you everyone for joining. We already got a short presentation from Barbara, thank you. So we are students from Saxion University, and we are here to give you a short introduction about what design thinking is, how we apply it in our day-to-day project, and how you can also bring it up to your own daily tasks or job. So we are 4 students. I myself, I am a game designer, while Diana here is a 3D artist. She's also a technical artist and a generalist. We have Delano, who is also a 3D artist, and awesome, the slide. And Trim, who is, again, a 3D artist. So we are spanning between art and design. So we're going to go over what design thinking is and our own personal experiences and give you a workshop overview. So let me start with a question. Raise your hand if you have ever had a show or a job or something that you did, but it didn't go the way you planned it because you didn't fully understand who you are working with. Did that happen before? Can I have some examples, if that's okay, there? Yeah.
I designed a workshop, I designed an audio description for dance, contemporary dance for blind people. Before that, I did a workshop, and the only thing I really enjoyed was the workshop.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm gonna together with my colleagues here, we're gonna talk about how you can apply this process in your particular situation, but in many more. It's not just a tech thing, although we're coming from a gaming industry. You can apply this everywhere through iteration, creativity, and empathy. So the main thing is how we empathize with our audience, define, ideate is just ideas, how we make the things, prototype, and ultimately test it. So this is our project. I am going to welcome Delano to talk about his project.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Delano, and I'm going to explain about a university project that I've been working on. And that project is called the Drone Body. So for the drone body, we first started with the empathizing phase. We wanted to have a more broader understanding of what the needs are from the target audience and to get to know what they want. And by doing that, we did an interview with a security guard of a perimeter And we did that by going to a field trip of the security guard, and it was also the owner from the perimeter. And also we did some brainstormings. So for the defining phase, we wanted to have like a problem narrated down so that we know what we are working with. So what we came up with when we were doing the interview is that the security guards doesn't really have a good overview of the perimeter, and that it's very slow to reach the destinations of like certain areas within the perimeter for them to reach. So for a solution that we came up with, that is like in the end of the solution, is like a drone story-driven game to sell the idea of purchasing a drone, to help it as a tool for a security guard to get to faster through the perimeter. So in our instance, the target audience is security guard. So in the ideation phase, we had like many concepts, and we narrowed it down for the presentation for 2. The first concept was like a linear single-player narrative-driven game where you have like a non-autonomous drone, yes. And the second concept was a multiplayer drone player. So basically you had like 2-player co-op game where you work together or go against each other. During the project we went with the first concept because we thought it would suit more. So for the prototyping phase, we were developing the concept from the ideation phase, and this was made in Unreal Engine. Some might be familiar with the engine, some might be new to it. And yeah, basically what we were doing is we were working in a group of 6 people, and we created the prototype for it to be tested out later with the target audience. So with the testing, we had a form so that we can test out the speed of the game, because our goal of the game was to sell the point of a drone, and we didn't want to feel like walking as a chore. So we wanted to test out, okay, what it would be actually beneficial to showcase. So if you have like a player that is like walking from one objective to another, and it would take like half an hour, nobody would have the concentration to do that. So we would really like to have like the understanding that, okay, as if you don't have a drone, it will take a long time, but if you have a drone, it will be much more quicker. And we did some testing and we showcased it in here. So we had like a timer to see how long it would actually take. As this video takes too long, I will skip a bit further. So yeah, this was more of like testing from one objective to another as a player. Oh, yes. That was the project that I was working on. Now I'm giving the stage towards Diana.
Hi, I'm Diana, and today I will be talking about how we applied design thinking to a school project that I had a year or so ago. I don't know if there's anyone in the room that kind of is familiar with video games, if there's any gamers here, or if this is all kind of a new thing for everyone. I will assume that there needs to be a little bit of background information then. Weerwar is this festival in the Twente area, so in the Netherlands, where basically a lot of gamers can gather and do competitions and game against each other. There's probably, maybe you've heard from people around you of games like Counter-Strike, or yeah, I'm not a big competitive gamer, so I personally don't know a lot, but essentially they just try to win as many games as possible. There was prizes, there was presentations, and there were also smaller games that people would be able to play for fun that were not necessarily part of a competition. And together with a team of other 7 people, we created this game called Chunkpunk. It was supposed to be a non-linear racing game, so instead of racing from one spot to another, you would have a circle. Well, it was not necessarily circle-shaped at the end. But the ending place of the finish line would just spawn somewhere randomly on the circle. So people would be able to turn around on the racetrack instead of just going from a straight line to be the fastest. And it was supposed to be easy to pick up and competitive because that was supposed to fit with the festival. And this was the final result. And I will quickly show, this is not a trailer, this is a gameplay video. So I will skip through the menu. So we went with this look of fun and bubbly. It was supposed to be the story that there is these two siblings in a mall that are trying to slow each other down and have fun while their parents are shopping or something. And they can throw obstacles in order to slow each other down. And I think the internet is being a bit slow. But you can see that there's two screens. It's split screen. You can see the map, and you can pick up these shopping bags that give you obstacles that you can throw at the other person. For the empathize phase, this I think is design thinking has been explained to you before, maybe in another workshop, but I will give you a quick refresher. For the empathize phase, we just want to understand who our target audience is. We had some client requirements as well, so we knew that it had to be fast-paced because it was supposed to engage people very quickly. We knew it was supposed to be a party game, so it couldn't take too long. There's other games that are similar, like Ultimate Chicken Horse or Mario Kart, that you can also see in the images. That were similar that we looked into because that's kind of what our target audience likes to play. And it was also supposed to be easy to pick up because you didn't have time to explain how to play a game for 10 minutes before people would go in. This was a big event, so there were people coming in constantly. So in order to figure out our target audience, we looked at these games that other people played. We saw that most of them were kind of PEGI 3, PEGI 10. It was pretty general overview of anyone can play these because they're easy to pick up. But we went for a 10 plus rating because we wanted to have depictions of maybe cartoon violence to make it a bit more fun. We figured the target audience of War itself is 16 to 25, so it was kind of young adults and teenagers playing video games. And we figured some also details of how they play their games, but this is a bit more into the technical game design. So killer and achiever player type, I can tell that to you, but I don't know if it tells you much. It's basically the way they like to play their games is a little bit more focused on achieving things and like killing enemies rather than exploring or figuring out puzzles. So through similar games, we made this document to figure out what exactly our target audience is. In the define phase, we clearly defined this problem, so we needed the game to be easy to pick up, had to have short playtime. There were lots of attendees that wanted to play this game, so it couldn't be 30 minutes for one group of people to play. And you couldn't have time to explain it too much in the beginning before people start playing. So our solution was this short playthrough game that would last about 5 to 10 minutes that had party game mechanics and simple controls so that we would be able to explain it very quickly to people. And the audience was the one that we found out in the empathize phase, so the where were attendees. And for the ideation, we were set together with our whole team and figured out what kind of games would we like to make, what kind of games would still fit the concept. So we just wrote down names of games or things that we would find interesting. And afterwards, we went to figure out 3 concepts, which you can see on the right image, and I will go slightly into detail with. We had an idea for a Destroy the Tower game where you would have one person playing on each half of the screen, and you would have to build up your tower, and you would have to defend it from the other person. For the second concept, it was essentially what we ended up choosing, which was a circular racing game where you could put obstacles for the other person. And the third concept was an asymmetrical maze in which one person was playing to escape the maze and the other person was playing to slow down the other player, so kind of like a god player. And we figured out what kind of would be the pros and cons, got some feedback from the teachers, and ended up choosing the circular racing game because that was very engaging for players and it was also easier to develop in a game design perspective. We decided it would be 5 to 10 minutes per game. We made some concept art that you can see on the screen right now. We wanted it to have this very bubbly look because usually racing games are these very serious things that look very realistic, so we wanted to go out of the way a little bit to drag people in. And yeah, the gameplay was that you can place obstacles and first to 6 rounds wins. For prototyping, we wanted to test a few things. So first we wanted to test if the level design would look great, if people would find their way around the mall that we designed. So that's what you can see with the the block out with the yellow blocks. That was for players to test if they like the area. Then we also wanted to test the look. What I'm trying to show is that there's a lot of ways to test things, which you will be doing in the workshop as well. So we wanted to create in Unity, which is also a game engine, see if people like the look of the game. And we also made a little prototype for the mechanics, which is on the bottom right with the cubes. It was looking very rough at that point, but it was just for the purpose of testing. And after we created these small prototypes, we decided to test them and roll out. So we got players from the target audience, which was easy because our whole study is made out of 16 to 25-year-olds who play video games. And first we started off with this. Then we added some more lighting to see if it can visually look better. We got some feedback on that. Obviously, it was still in the development phase. Then we added some assets. We decided it was too dark. We made some player characters so that the game would look more engaging. We added the obstacles and saw if people liked that. Some obstacles made it in, some obstacles didn't. And in the end, this was the concept that we ended with. And it was the one from the trailer as well. And we ended up showing this at War and actually having people enjoy the game. So that was a great experience. And now I will ask Trim to continue our presentation.
Hello, I'm Trim. I'm the other 3D artist on the team. My project, I'm going to present my project that I did in university. Mine is not that fun like my colleague that had really good games. Mine is more about saving lives. So it was called Recovery Room. This project was in collaboration with Leiden University Medical Center. It's one of the biggest medical universities in the Netherlands. And with them, we collaborated to make an immersive experience for their medical students. Since still the techniques that were used by them, they're more like up to 50 years old, and they're not really that immersed. So for this reason, we came to the table and we just created a recovery room, which is a really great experience. I'm going to continue with my trailer. You can see it here. Since the trailer is a bit long, I'm just going to go fast maybe. So basically the same recovery room as in real life, but this is an immersive project where we use VR for helping the students, like the fresh students, to understand how is the recovery room and how it works under the pressure. Basically, there's all things that they can interact with, and they can get the right life-alike experience. So in this case, we use as well the highest graphics from Unreal Engine. It's a game engine, but it's a really powerful engine to give life-alike experiences. We also did show a power outage, which it happened lately in Spain as well. So we wanted to, the university asked us to create some type of experiences so they could know that if it would happen in real life, how they would react to it. So it was a great add-on to the project. Continue. So for the empathize situation, we did go through the problems and requirements. So basically, what I explained just before was that the university freshmen had a really hard situation to get the right experience with their real life, but they're going to have it throughout their studies. So they had medical dummies that were not really that much immersed, and they were like, we actually visited the university and they showed us that there is a dummy and they just shout all around, so people get really stressed and they don't really get the right training. So with our project, from the first part, they really welcomed it and they wanted to get more immersed into this situation. So we showed to them that VR solutions provide immersive to what the problem that they have, and the solution would be much better than the one that they had there. So for the define stage, we started with a really detailed environment in Unreal Engine, And we utilized the real life pictures, and we did do 3D scanning of the whole ECU and the whole part of the hospital, so we could get the right feeling that the immersive is like in the real life. For the ideation and prototyping, after we visited, we got the accurate measurements. We created like life-alike assets and got the right experience for them did the right prototyping, so then they could test it and they could see that the results from it. So after we did roll out the prototype, we did multiple testing with people around the school and around the university, and also the client from the hospital, which they were really excited and they were happy about the results from it that could help us get the immersive experience on their hospitals and for their medical students. So now I leave the stage to our great artist. Thank you very much.
Hi, so I was a designer in this project with a team of 7 people, and we created an AR app that helps children in hospitals relax. AR is augmented reality, is like when you scan something and something appears, similar to Snapchat filters, everything like that. So we had this in collaboration with NOMI, which is a medical center which wants to develop these technologies to help people. So we already had an idea of what we're going to make. It was like, help children relax in hospitals. But that's not everything about it, right? You cannot just help children relax this easy. You also need to know who are you interacting with, what age those children are, how is the other end of it, how do hospitals feel about kids getting stressed. So we had some interviews with nurses, pediatricians, and we asked, like, what is actually stressing children? Is it just them, or is it, for example, their parents? The way they behave at home, or how familiar they are with hospital visits. So we created a very detailed empathy map. We tried to put ourselves in the shoes of the kids, but we also, in terms of more easier interactions, asked the kids to pick, for example, a bee that they like, a drawing that they find amusing or familiar. So after we did this very thorough research, we found out that there are multiple problems at the core, how usually they are. It's not only one singular one. For example, there is this thing called white-collar fear. I don't know if you know it. It's like when children are said from their parents that if you're not behaving, I'm going to send you to the doctor. So this is a very bad negative response the children get when the child is at the hospital. Also, the unknown procedures that are happening, so what tools the hospital use and what are they for. Parents' stress also influences children's stress, and we came out with this mobile app that makes the hospital environment from dull white walls into something more immersive they can interact with, because playgrounds, for example, are very stationary. You don't get a very personalized experience. And we also looked at the other parts of the audience, which is not only the child, it's also the client we were working for, the hospitals, and the parents. And you can see here we detailed some of these scenarios in which you are a child at the hospital, how do you interact, what is the first thing you do, and so on. So we designed multiple concepts. It's not about being pretty, it's about getting the message across. We used pen and paper. We used software like Figma, for example. We just slapped some photos from the internet. We're like, yeah, this is the first thing you do when you open the app. You scan it, then a bee appears. Okay, then this happens. Just to see if this can work out, if this is a good idea, and how we can actually move it from 2D to like something that you can work with on your phone. So we had 3 examples that we came up with. I don't know if this is going to work, but the first one was about, about immersive interactions. So you have these environments like an ocean or an alien planet. You scan the poster, and that appears, and you can tap on a chest, you open it. Then we have a companion, which is similar to like Talking Angela, if you know it. Okay, this one works. You scan it, and this bee appears and explains to you like what is going to happen at the hospital, what is your procedure, and plays like patient with you. It's like, give me that object, help me heal my wound. And the last one is a collectible kind of thing. So you go, you scan, you collect a otoscope, you collect a syringe, you collect all of that. So both last ones were very educational based, and the first one was very visual based. And of course, kids like visuals. No education, nobody reads. They really love to interactive stuff, press it, see what happens. And we went into a kindergarten to actually test this. And we combined the companion, which was the bee, with this concept because they also like being represented by a cute animal that they can interact with. So we did prototyping in Unity. It's a game software, so we created this. We draw. Not only on 3D, we also did 2D, so like paper drawings to see how they're going to look like, and also like very brief cubes that show how you can interact with. So we went again into another kindergarten and tested a final concept that we had, and we found a bit challenging to test with kids because you cannot go there, put them side by side and be like, let's do an interview. How many of these things you liked and how much of this you enjoyed? We had to kind of measure this in smiles, laughs, do they frown, do they get stuck and don't know how to interact with it? And based on that, for example, we found out that phones are quite heavy for kids to hold and they do not do this. While in AR, to do this, it means to navigate. So they wouldn't understand that if they do this, they can see right or wrong, or right or left. So we added like a little icon that you can see there, like, hey, do this to interact. So we also tested on different environments. For example, in hospitals, if someone moves in front of your camera, if that's still something that the camera recognizes. If you put the poster in the hospital, for example, on a more textured wall, like the ones we have here, can you still scan it? So we did some technical testing as well. As you can see there, how fast the app scans. And yeah, final result is a trailer of 2 minutes. Maybe we can skip through it. Yeah? Okay. So the idea would be that the child scans the poster and this world appears. I don't know how. Okay, you can see a bit of it here, and they can interact with it on their phone and see this and move around. So we did 2 environments, and different stuff happens. It's nothing with a goal in mind. It's just for the kid to interact with something, see the direct response, and take their mind off the stressful environment they're in, while also keeping them grounded, because if we do like a total hospital makeover, they won't feel like they're in the hospital anymore, and coming back to the hospital feeling would be a bit of a big threshold to pass. So you have that bee that you control and you can press stuff. So yeah, cute interactions. Yes. So. Okay. That's mostly about it. So now we will continue with the workshop. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you have questions.
From the audience, want to ask questions?
I'm just gonna.
Yes, there's a question, yeah.
Yes, thank you. For the Bee and Beyond, how old were the kids in the kindergarten that you were testing with?
How did we test with them?
How old were they? Were they 3? Were they 6?
Yeah,
Were they...
we tested with 2 classroom groups. One of them were like 7 to 8, and the other a bit older, so 11 to 12. The younger ones were harder to stay in place, so they interacted less with it, but most of them got the concept. A lot of kids already get phones, which I don't think it's a great idea, but already when you put the phone on their hand, they go like... So, yeah.
I would like to ask to any of you, like, how do you manage bad ideas? How do you detect it, or and how do you like throw it away? And how do you know when it's a bad idea or either a good idea?
You want to take that? Anyone?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I think that there is not really any bad ideas until you start testing. That's why we made so many concepts, for example, for our project, because then we started getting feedback from especially our target audience as well. Then they will tell you, you can make as many prototypes as you want. So even if you make a small prototype, a small paper prototype, you have an idea. You don't need to make the whole project in order to test it. So it's better to ask questions. We also had the help of teachers, which was very lucky because there were people that were already experienced with creating these types of things. So getting feedback from them also helps. But just developing more concepts and then realizing which one is more feasible. There's a lot of tools as well, so we can figure out the pros and cons of things. You will also do this during the workshop, because some things have more pros and some things have more cons, and then you will figure out that developing one idea is going to be easier or faster, or there's less like room for error, I guess. But at least that would be my perspective on it.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you for sharing all that. Well, it's a very technical question, like how expensive are all those? Like a base, just to understand.
Hi again. So in this case, for our project for recovery room, as far as we did all the planning, because as students we also have to make the cost calculations for like even though we were doing an internship or we're doing something like a graduation internships, we have to plan everything, and it can depend. Let's say for the hospital, since that thing is going to be used for lots of years to come, and a lot of people are going to get affected by it. It might start like by if I'm going to go with the cost, it's like. From 200,000 euros, it can go up to like to the case where it adds up, because these projects for us, they are supported by European Union most of the times, and they're like something for well-being of human beings and the right expertise for the people. So it might look from the perspective that it might be expensive, but when it comes to the results of it, it's really it affects a lot of people. So it can get after like extended to all the parts of the world. But it starts from 200,000 euros. If you're asking about the right cost to the beginning, and the project that I worked on last year, it's going on because they really saw the results, the good results from it. So they just keep going. So it might go the cost double of it in the case of that.
Super. So because the reason why I ask, it's myself. I was just working with some budgeting, for example, and. It is like a question like, okay, we want to have a project like that.
Yeah.
How much should we have in our minds that this thing is going to be in the budget, like the actual cost? Oh, okay, so thank you.
You're welcome. So it's usually, as well as students, the best way sometimes is like get a group of people that enjoy working or like experimenting with different like aspects of technology, so they could get the best result of it rather than just lowering down the cost. Like in the game industry, we know this as indie games, or like some games that they're just like they didn't retrieve the budget yet, but they just start testing and they start checking, and of course always after some iterations there's going to be good results and people, so you're going to find the right audience for that. So it starts sometimes really, it can go like low and it can increase with the investors, and in this case like with us, the government or the European Union itself.
Super, thank you.
You're welcome. Stay. Do we have any other questions, or we should move on to the other part? Do we? Yeah, it's just, should you go? So we have a question for the workshop. What technical concept for the theater production, making use of new technologies for the stage design, audience engagement, and new dramaturgies, dramaturgists, can stimulate Gen Zs to visit theater performance. So in this stage, we're going to start working on answering this question. Thank you. We'll come close and we'll start for the next process. Yeah. Yeah, we can just go.
Procedure, yeah. Okay, thanks. Okay, so we have designed a workshop, and the students will, and also Herman and I will guide some teams. We all will guide one team in working to try to solve the question, problem statement, and we brought some tools from the toolkit that we have designed based on the design thinking methodology. So if we can divide ourselves in 6 teams would be perfect, because we are with 6 people. And then we can help you to fill out templates and do the testing and prototyping according to the schedule that we have designed.